let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Hi there to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stars this evening: Higher Education Minister Professor Jacques Famdongo, elite of the South region, strongly reacts against a group of elites from the South who call on Cameroonians to vote against President Paul Biya's 43-year regime. Despite President Biya's hailing from the South, the elite said the region has never benefited from his rule. They remain underdeveloped and challenged. We'll tell you more about the bone of contention in this edition of the news. Plus, journalists in Cameroon have come together to call on Cameroonians to vote wisely in the upcoming presidential election in the country. The media men and women came together that was in the nation's political capital Yaoundé under the watchful eyes of veteran journalist Eric Chinji. Viewers, those are our list stories. Details and more when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. Insufficient importation documents for goods at the borders of Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea has led to the temporary blockade of trucks transporting goods from Equatorial Guinea to Cameroon. The business operators who have been stuck somehow for several weeks are now calling on government assistance. Let's now have the details with Small Jikan Gabriel.
At the borders of Equatorial Guinea and Cameroon, precisely in Bitam, a truck transporting goods have been held by custom officers for a second week running. It is the same scenario for other trucks expecting to be on their way to Cameroon with goods of business operators. The trucks were stopped because owners of these goods have been asked to provide an importation document, which is strange to them.
We always enter, buy small, buy cargo for years, small.
We usually come here to buy goods, which we sell in Yaoundé and Douala. But this time around, they are now asking for importation documents, which we don't know who is importing the goods. These goods are being sold to Equatorial Guineans by their distributors, and we only come to buy them. But we are asked to bring documents to prove that the goods have been duly paid.
We take people who buy the country, who know the importers.
Unable to provide the document to prove that custom duties have been paid on the goods before they were being sold in Equatorial Guinea, goods that cannot easily get perished, like canned drinks, have been offloaded and packed in one of the customs warehouse in Bitam. We pay 100,000 francs for each day when we hire a truck. This is the second week going since we are stuck here at the borders. We also have to pay for the warehouse. We are requesting on the government to help us.
We beg government for seeing this situation, for see how we take this cargo, continue this small business or the manager.
Unable to pay custom dues because it is expensive, most business operators have decided to use water to transport their goods, and they also risk being caught and goods termed as contraband.
And we told you in the headlines that journalists in Cameroon are enhancing efforts to ensure that Cameroonians vote wisely in a bid to take the country out of its precarious or current deplorable situation. Under the professional guidance of veteran journalist Eric Chinji and other senior journalists, they have come together to enlighten Cameroonians on how to do it better come October. More with Babila Jonathan.
As tension grows in Cameroon's political landscape ahead of the presidential election, Cameroon New Vision Group of Journalists says the nation must not sink into chaos while the country goes through one of the most troubled moments of its history. Media practitioners are stepping up their information and education role to enable Cameroonians to make an informed choice come October 2025. It is the essence of the social contract proposal of the Cameroon New Vision Group, CANVI, About who should lead Cameroon at this stage of its history, Canvi points to a leader who is perfectly bilingual and endowed with the capacity to solve the multiple problems of governance, economic inequality, infrastructural and deep-rooted conflicts, especially in the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions. And for these, the group suggests the next president should possess key competencies, including the ability to define a long-term vision for inclusive development and national reconciliation, integrity and accountability, a deep understanding of the country's linguistic, ethnic and regional complexities. According to Canvi, he or she should also have technological savvy with proven knowledge of artificial intelligence, digital governance and how technology can advance national development, and be sensitive and committed to equity, education, and employment opportunities for youths and women, the ability to consolidate and protect the Cameroonian nation, vigorously defend Cameroon's interest, and promote the nation's image throughout the world are other qualities spelled out in the social contract. And for these competencies to be productive, the next president should have qualities like ability to work and act under pressure, humility and emotional intelligence, and charismatic in all dimensions of the word. The social contract also details the main responsibilities of the next president in matters of governance and rule of law, economic transformation, digital and technological advancement, education, health and human capital, peace building and national unity, environmental and climate leadership, and foreign policy.
And now for details on the Cameroon New Vision Initiative, Sone Bayen, a journalist, spoke to Babula Jonathan.
The social contract or presidential profile are produced by Canvi, the Cameroon New Vision Group, which is a think tank of Cameroonians at home and in the diaspora, represented by our iconic senior colleague Eric Chenje and myself, Franklin Sonebayen, and another Simon Musi. Is kind of job description and job profile for who will be the next general manager or CEO of the company called Cameroon. This company has its challenges, this company has its potentials. This company is looking for the person, the individual who has the qualities to manage all of this, both the challenges and the potentials. We do not want an election that is guided by euphoria around whoever for whatever reasons. We remember that another election earlier in our history, the election of 1992, which was very euphoric, revolved around Paul Biya must go, vote for change. This time around, we know there is going to be Paul Biya must go and vote for change, but we want additionally that there should be programs. There should be a reason why Cameroonians will be excited to vote whosoever they're going to vote. It should be looking at someone who has the answers to the problems that face Cameroon, not just someone who is coming to replace, to bring change behind Biya must go. So we're looking at those qualities. We want Cameroonians to be able, the press, to be able to let Cameroonians understand who has those qualities, to drum up those qualities, to drum up those challenges and the possible solutions, and see who is best suited.
And to this other lead story, the Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famdongo, elites of the South region strongly react against a group of elites from the South who call on residents or Cameroonians to vote against President Paul Biya's 43-year-old regime. Despite President Biya hailing from the South, the elites said the region has not benefited from his rule so far, which has remained underdeveloped and challenged. For me, I'm Troxander, completes the story.
Detailed and scrutinized analysis, Minister Jacques Famdongo, Minister of Higher Education, questioned the motives of the elite, asking if they seek to change the man who brought change to Cameroon. He emphasized President Paul Biya's achievements, including infrastructural development, educational establishment, and healthcare facilities. The minister highlighted the president's contributions to Cameroon's growth, citing the creation of new regions, divisions, and subdivisions in the country. He also mentioned the establishment of institutions like the Senate, the Constitutional Council,
and decentralization. Famendongo, who is an elite of the South region, urged the people of the South region not to support the elite's attempt at political parricide. He emphasized that the president's work are ongoing and many achievements are yet to come. However, the group of elites who called for this change argue that despite the achievement, the South region remains underdeveloped and marginalized. They point to poor infrastructure, lack of economic opportunities, and inadequate access to basic services like healthcare and education. While Famendongo's statement highlights the president's contribution, the realities on the ground tell a different story. The people of the South region, and indeed the entire Cameroon, will have to weigh the evidence and decide for themselves whether President Paul Biya's regime has truly benefited them. As Cameroon approaches the next presidential election, the debate is likely to intensify. Will the people of the South region and beyond heed the call of the anti-Biya elite or rally behind the president and his achievement?
Still on the upcoming election, as this narrows to the end of the registration process, many Cameroonians are still to get themselves registered, while other reasons have been advanced. Some residents, Cameroonians here in the economic capital Douala, attribute the delay to the lack of national identity cards. Our reporter Lucy Liengu is here, spoke to some Cameroonians in the streets of Douala and compared their reactions in this report.
With only a few days left until the Electoral College is convened, a good number of Cameroonians are yet to register their names on the electoral list.
I'm still thinking about it, but I had to do it. It just need a matter of time, I'll do it. We need changes.
Non, je ne suis pas encore inscrit sur la liste électorale. Question de temps.
This delay, according to some, is due to several factors.
Je suis un peu occupé tout ces derniers temps, donc dès que possible, je vais le faire.
Including the busy schedules and difficulties in accessing a national identity card.
J'attends que la carte sorte pour que je puisse m'inscrire. On dit que pour s'inscrire, il faut toujours une carte.
While these citizens are yet to register, others say they are motivated to register this year because they want a new leader who will resolve their challenges.
Je suis motivé parce que 43 ans au pouvoir, il faut que ça s'arrête. Il faut que le régime s'arrête, il faut qu'on passe à autre chose.
Actually, I've already registered myself and I'm calling for other youth to register themselves. Don't wait at the dying minute. Very soon the president is going to convoke the electoral body, so do everything as fast as possible. Register yourself, don't wait for the dying minute.
They believe that anyone who wants power to change hands should ensure that they vote, which is why registering to vote is crucial.
Ceux qui ne veulent pas le changement, celui qui veut le changement a le devoir de s'inscrire. Parce que c'est le changement qui compte pour un pays.
To another Cameroonian, registering on the electoral list has been a usual routine since 2007.
Je suis un ancien électeur, je me suis inscrit depuis 2007.
As days narrow to the presidential election, Cameroonians say they are increasingly anxious to vote.
And now we talk something else. Controversy has erupted around the arrest of a journalist, Didier Kwamo, and manager of Arbitrary Radio, in what media men and women are calling a blatant abuse of power. This is after he was arbitrarily arrested on the 18th of June 2025 and detained for hours because his company is owing rent to his landlords. Let's now have the details with Mala Glory.
On June 18, 2025, Didier Kwamo was allegedly apprehended in an irregular manner by forces of law and order, reportedly acting alongside Colette Temeu, the landlady of the Bonamusadi building housing Arbitrary Radio, who accuses the station of defaulting on 23 months' rent, amounting to 9.4 million francs CFA.
I was then told that I will be held in police custody of around 10 p.m. on Wednesday. They continue their influence, peddling and intimidation. In case to reiterate that I'm not, either directly or indirectly, a signatory to any lease agreement with this lady.
Despite Kwamo's insistence that he bears neither personal nor legal responsibility in the landlord-tenant dispute, he was reportedly detained for several hours and only regained his freedom around 11 p.m. Following a strong intervention by the National Syndicate of Cameroonian French-speaking journalists, SNGC Electoral, and the legal support of Barrister Fabien Kearney, Colette Timmer, on her part, broke her silence on Friday. She stated defending her actions as the legitimate response of a landlady driven to the brink. Asako has been the one paying for the rent until when he decided to leave, leaving me with a contact, and that is Mr. Kamini, whom I have never seen. I don't even know him. I tried calling him to no avail. And today they are owing me 23 months rent, worth 9.4 million francs CFA. The only person whom we have succeeded in connecting with was Mr. Kwamo. Reason why I had to file a complaint to the gendarmerie so that they can help to find the real tenant of the house. As investigation on the Kwamo affair unfold, the SNGC raises urgent questions on whether it is a legal way to settle a private dispute, or is it an illegal use of force with a hidden political agenda?
Let's now bring to you the story of a woman who incurred severe burns all over her body after the alleged prayers of a pastor of a born-again church here in Douala. Our reporter Immaculate Fogwe spoke with the victim. She now recounts to us what really happened.
Chanceline is still recovering from severe burns she sustained during a gathering at a church in the Trois-Border neighborhood, the Douala 5 subdivision. Her desperation to conceive led her sister-in-law to take her to the church. Days after participating in the service, Chanceline noticed burns on her body.
Ma belle-sœur avait expliqué à mon mari.
My sister-in-law explained to my husband how her neighbor's daughter was delivered by the pastor. She told us the girl was possessed, reason why she was not passing her exams. So she advised I and my husband to come to the church.
She recounts witnessing unusual and unsettling practices during the prayer session that left her feeling uneasy.
When I arrived at the church, I noticed that the pastor made use of peace plants, kola nuts, candles, and ground to deliver her Christians. She equally read Bible verses during deliverance sessions. She later asked us to eat the ground and ask God whatever we need.
Chanceline later filed a complaint with the Warri Court of First Instance. An arrest warrant was issued and the Dokbo Territorial Gendarmerie Brigade took action. On a fact-finding mission with the security elements, we drove to the church where we met with members and saw objects Chanceline had earlier described. When questioned, the pastor acknowledged knowing Chanceline and claimed to have prayed for her. A young girl with similar burns presented her scars, and the pastor provides an explanation to what happened.
I lay hands on their forehead and begin to pray. I use the oil, ground, and kola nuts during the prayer session. The spirit begins to manifest, and they later fall on the ground. The fire of the Holy Ghost is able to burn the spirit in them.
The pastor is later arrested and taken away for further questioning. Meantime, Chanceline now urges women seeking to conceive to be vigilant and maintain their faith in God.
Sad indeed. Let's now talk something else. The Minister of Transport, Ernest Masina-Ngale Bibehe, has suspended two transport agencies, Société Papangasi and United Express, for a period of 2 months. This is after two fatal road accidents on the Kongsamba-Bafang Highway, claiming the lives of 4 people and another at Ebombe, which resulted to 4 deaths. Our reporter Mala Glory read through the communique and compared this report for the news.
In the two communiques published on the 16th of June 2025, Ernest Masina-Ngale Bibehe suspended 2 travel agencies alongside 2 of their drivers. thus expressing indignation over a recent accident on the road causing numerous deaths. This is following the fatal road accident that occurred on the 9th of April 2025 at Ebombe, a locality in the littoral region about 25 kilometers away from Ideya in the Sanaga Maritime Division. The accident involving United Express Trade and Change Agency resulted to 4 deaths and 14 injured persons. According to the release, the accident was caused by an abusive and non-signal parking by driver Nanga Akongwi Emmanuel of United Express, whose driver's license was withdrawn and the agency suspended for a period of 2 months. While Trade and Change Agency was slammed a 3-month suspension, Transport Minister Messina Ngale Bibehe also sanctions Société Papangasi and Associé Voyage Sal for causing the accident that occurred on April 8th on the Konsamba-Bafang Highway, claiming the lives of 4 people and 26 serious injured cases. The agency was accused of overspeeding and overtaking by the driver of the Costa bus. At the same time, the Minister of Transport calls on drivers to be more cautious while sending his condolences to the bereaved families.
And now in foreign news, at least 34 soldiers and others were injured during an attack which took place in Bani Bangu that was in Niger lately. And over to Cote d'Ivoire, Laurent Gbagbo and Tidjane Thiam have announced the creation of a coalition to demand the reintegration of their leaders and candidates for the presidential election. Our foreign page roundup with Cedric Chakutu.
An attack by armed men in the town of Bani Bangu left 34 soldiers dead and 14 wounded. Defense forces responded, killing dozens of terrorists and destroyed reinforcements to hunt down the perpetrators. The Tillaberi region, where Bani Bangu is located, is a sensitive area due to the presence of jihadist groups linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Niger is also facing attacks by Boko Haram and its descendant branch in the southeast of the country. Elsewhere, Mali's Supreme Court has ordered political parties to account for their financial expenditures between July 2000 and May 2025. This request follows a referral from Prime Minister General Abdoulaye Maiga, who requested a go-through audit of political parties' finances. The parties concerned must provide supporting documentation for the use of the resources made available for them. In Côte d'Ivoire, the 2 main opposition parties in the country, Laurent Gbagbo's PPACI and Tidjane Thiam PDCI, have announced the creation of a common front to demand the reinstatement of their leaders as candidates in the October presidential election. The common front also calls for the opening of a political dialogue and the reform of the Independent Electoral Commission. The initiative follows similar demands raised by the Coalition for Peaceful Change in Côte d'Ivoire, but with a different approach due to the strained relations between Laurent Gbagbo and certain figures in the coalition.
And that does it for this edition of the news. Viewers, thank you so much for always being with us. Our programs continue tonight. Equinoxe comes up at 7 p.m. and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Enjoy your stay in the company of programs on Equinoxe Television. Have a blessed weekend. Bye-bye for now.